Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and we're here today with another in a New York Beauty Minute. And this is block 9, and you're going to find that PDF in our show notes below. So this one is going to be a little bit trickier. As we progress, we're getting harder and harder, but I mean, it's not going to be that bad. Today is July 18th, and we have adopted 2 very wild, crazy kittens, and they're just having a great time. So you're going to hear them throughout the video, I'm sure. But first, let's get to our shout out. Moonkin Stitchery is on our radar today, and their YouTube channel is going to be in our show notes below. And we're just going to, you guys go give, you know the drill, go give them some love and some encouragement and say, yay guys, you know, so, and tell them that Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you. Also, Quilt Bingo is going to start August 27th, so I'm not sure when this video is going to drop, but if you guys want to check out some fun skill building, go check out the Wednesday drops, because they're just so much fun, right? I do 3 different patterns, like beginner, intermediate, hard, and you guys work at whatever skill level you've got, or you know, if you want to improve, you can work at the next level up. But it's so much fun. Also, we have Zoom Sew dates from now until the end of December, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, because I'm in Alberta, Canada. Share, like, and subscribe. Making comments helps drive our analytics forward and helps push our video ahead. So if you guys can comment, and even if it's just a heart, we'd love to hear from you, and it would help us continue bringing you fun free patterns. Also, we have a Facebook group, but it's warm and welcoming, and we have a virtual sewing room hosted by Discord that you guys can have a sew date like 24/7 if you wanted. And there's also fabric exchanges by country. There's numerous community chats. There's so many fun things to do in there. Plus, we do all the same thing other Facebook groups do, like show pictures and ask questions and take polls. It's a lot of fun. Also, I speak for free. I speak about elements of design, working with scrap fabric, and like making charity quilts. But I am going to have a different topic, a speaking engagement for December of 2025, and I'm kind of anxious about this one. I'm kind of like, ooh, this is going to be a lot of fun. So if you've heard my first speaking engagement and you want to rebook me for free, that's fine. We can do that too for you. We'll make that accommodation for you. Also, you can get a hold of me either by email, which is under the About tab, or message me through the Facebook group. I'm a little faster in answering the Facebook group stuff than I am the email. Also, if you have shout outs for people that are quilting related channels that we should be talking to about in our community, please send them to me as well. I'm really surprised at the number of new channels that are coming out and ones that I wasn't aware of. So I do subscribe to you as well. Anyways, I think that's it. So come on in. Let's get to a sewing of the New York Beauty block number 9. Okay, so we're at the sewing machine, and the first thing I did was score my pattern with my tracing wheel that provides little bumps that I can follow. And it also helps fold the paper. I hope you can see that. And it also helps remove the paper too, because it kind of weakens that paper up a bit. So that's always nice. Tape is your best friend, because you never know when you have to tape something. A paper scissor to cut your pattern out, and a fabric scissor to trim these. Now, when I put these down on the fabric, I treat them just like a sewing pattern, like you would for a blouse or a dress or whatever. Rotary cutter, and add a quarter ruler. You could use a regular ruler, and somewhere I do have a regular ruler, but apparently it's gone poofta. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do this first, and I'll show you what kind of things we can have fun with doing. Okay, now this one is a little different. This one is a great deal different. So what you're going to have to do with this is you're going to have to start at one end and work your way this way. Now, the end you start on, because I didn't number these, because I figured, okay, well, I'll just explain this. You have to start here, right? And then your next piece will be orange, because if you start here or somewhere in the middle, you know, you can only move this way on the pattern. You can't move back. Like, you can't you put the green here, and then you have no place to put your dark green, your purple, or your orange, right? Now I have put all the colors that I'm going to put on here, and my color scheme is green, purple, and orange, right? So you have to start on this side, and that's going to mess a few up, I just know, but that's okay. We can make this happen. It'll be fine. So what we're going to do, first off, and I also pulled, because it's 4 colors, I also pulled the dark green out because I figured I'd have enough contrast between the dark green and the medium green, right? So that's going to be a little fun element. Tie the quilt together. Okay, so I've got a green piece here that's going to fit, and okay, and an orange piece, and I'm just going to line all of this up, and okay, I want the, nope, I do not want it that way. I want the green, wait a minute. Hold it. It's just like, okay, I don't know how to do this suddenly. Oh, I know. You want to do this. This is what you're going to have to do. That's right. Because if you want green to be number 1, which you do, there we go. So you're going to have to sew it like this. And of course all this stuff is in the way immediately. So that's fine. We will just move this over right here. Now I've got my stitches set to 35 stitches an inch. And I have totally lost my foot pedal because hubby didn't set this up right. And here we go. Or the kittens have taken off with it. Or some, we have kittens. It'd be fun, he said. They're just going to be a riot. Okay, so I'm in the seam allowance. I'm going to hold it in place and go up and down a few times. You need your machine set 25 to 30 stitches an inch. And a sharp needle. The sharp needle is imperative to get really nice results. And where's my scissor? Oh, I also need a scissor. Okay. And I don't have a leader ender, so that's going to be difficult, right? So just like that, we're going to spread that open. Now I ripped my seams here a little bit. And what you do is sew, press, trim. That's the order of all foundation paper piecing, right? Is sew, press, trim. Now I'm going to, oh dear, let's see, get this way. Of course it's the awkward way. It's the awkward one. Okay, just get this over a bit. This way, come on. You can flip, there we go. So now, we're going to take our add-a-quarter ruler. These add-a-quarter rulers, they have ones now that are a bit larger, and they're much safer than this variety. And if you're going to spend money on one of these, get the wider ones, you know, because they're just safer to operate. Okay, next up is the purple. Okay, let's get the purple out to play. Okay, so the purple we want to have start right in here. So we're going to get that on next. Oh, all the stuff moves again. Okay, where did this go? Okay, that's fine. Just slide all of this under. Yeah. And just up and down the same spot. That creates kind of a little knot. You know. And then, you know, you go from there. See, I held it here just to create a bit of a knot here at that intersection, because it'll be a nice place there. Okay. Now we finger press this into the right spot. I found a cute little posy, and I got polka dots, and I got a botanical, and it's just like, yeah, really lovely little colors. So, okay, now next one is right here. Okay. And you bend your fabric right out of the way and get this seam perfect. Now, I'm going to lay it down like this. I'm going to go across this way. And then go like this. Then this piece here can go into my crumbs. And I haven't got a weird shaped piece. Right, this one here can go into my crumbs. Okay, now we're going to do the dark. Ooh, the dark goes this way too. Okay, all right. Now, that's another one that's big enough for crumbs. There, now, we're going to get the tape out of the way because it's in my way. Every time I do something, it's in my way. So now we're just going to, not the selvage, we're not going to sew the selvage. We're just going to sew this to here. All this junk out of the way. Get this under. Oh dear. There we go. Yeah, it looks like a lot to manage under here, doesn't it? Okay, we're just going to line this up. Get into the seam allowance. Stitch in place. And then past 1/4 inch past and stitch in place again. Alright? So now I've got knots on both ends. There we go. And I'm just going to reach under here. There we go. All right. So here's our first little thing. Like I say, you know, get it all down in place. And now you're gonna just trim. I'm gonna trim this. Wait a minute here. I'm gonna trim this off this way. There we go. And now I'll move this out of the way and trim the rest of it. There. There's less waste this way. And I've got some good sized piece now that I can cut off and throw into the crumb bin. Right, for dark greens, because my green crumbs have taken a serious hit. Serious hit. And they're like, I don't think they're going to recover. Okay, so next up is another green. So we get a bigger piece of green. And this piece will probably fit and then some. But it's an odd shaped piece, so you might as well use it. And move it out. There we go. There we go. There. Now flip that over just like so. And now you see that pattern starting to develop here. Right? That's going to be the points throughout your block. This one is the hardest so far. I will admit that this one's the hardest one so far. But, you know, the more foundation paper piecing you do, the easier this kind of thing gets. And then you see, once you figure that out, then you go, wow, this isn't hard. This isn't hard at all. There we go. Oh. There we go. There. So, there. Okay, so now, let's get, see, this is where you lay out the orange again. Oops, there we go. I have enough of this. I have another great big piece over on my desk, or my cutting table. So, yeah, we've been, I don't like that. It's going to be distracting. Get that off. Okay. So, we got kittens. Oh my goodness. I forgot how rambunctious kittens are. And they're cute. Oh my goodness. They're cute. One is called Giles. And the other one is called Ollie. Just sweet kittens. And like I say, this is July 18th when we're filming this. So this has been quite the pandemonium in our household. And it's been fun though. It has been fun. They do have their own energy, and they do bring a certain amount of pandemonium into a household. I don't object to kittens. I just prefer a more settled animal, which is, I know, sounds strange, but the ones that are having a hardest time to adopt are the older ones. The older they are, the harder they are to adopt. And it just makes me sad that these, there's animals, not that they're putting down a bunch of animals, it's just that they're putting down animals that they just can't do much with. So I'm just going to give this a light trim this way. And I'm not going to cut off my point, but I am going to get rid of that big piece. And now we will cut the orange. There, between the orange and the purple. There we go. Get this out of the way. Yes, that's big enough for the scrap bin. And I'm going to leave this line to cut later. So let's get the purple back out here. The purple wants to come and play. There. There we go. I do like how these, I went through and picked out stuff out of my yardage and my fat quarters, because my scraps were getting rather picked over. You know how that happens, right? And you get this, like, ew, this kind of a, thing that doesn't really, they don't look like anything after a while. They're all kind of muddy. So I decided, okay, we are going to pull from our yardage just to freshen up the oranges, the greens, and the purples. And don't forget, I also did a lot of damage to my greens and purples here with Purple Crumb Carnage. So yeah, getting some new crumbs would be nice to play with as well. There. There we go. And now the dark green. So you can do this with your scraps too, right? This is something people don't really grasp, is that you can play with your scraps and do this. There we go. There. I'm going to get a couple of nice pieces for my crumb bins. There, get another dark green going. There. Yeah, so the kittens are definitely energetic. There's trying to get a decent night's sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's like playtime, and they sound like a herd of elephants. But they're going to be fun. They're fun. I can hardly wait till the grandkids see them. It's like, that's going to be interesting little adventure for them too, because they have an older cat, and I don't think the youngest grandchild even remembers Espresso as a baby. I think the cat is a little bit old for even the oldest one, actually, because they've been Espresso is getting up there in age. So anyways, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut here, not to just to save some excess piecing, just out of here, just to trim it, give it a rough trim. Right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over and trim that long line so I can put the paler green on. And what we're going to do is just pop this open, just like so. Oops, I missed it. You missed it just a bit. There we go. There we go. So now this is what you're trimming off right here. So yeah, some of that's too small, but that's fine. We'll get there. Now I'm going to add another green, and I'm going to try and see if I can't get another piece out of this green right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to sew this, and I'm going to show you that I got this odd shaped piece will cover this. I'm taking a good guess that it will. And then I'll finish sewing the rest of this off camera. I'll sew the rest of it off camera, and then we can see how all the rings go together. Here. Okay, oops. Don't pull with the needle down. Don't pull with the needle down. Okay, so here we go. This is where this starts. Oh yes, we have all sorts of coverage there. That's perfect. Perfect coverage. Okay, so I'm going to cut here, and then I'll come back and we'll sew the rings together. Okay, so we got all our pattern cut out. We got all of this stitched. And I'm just going to remove the paper so you see where the sequence is. Or what the block is going to kind of look like. Right? And, you know, you do have to start from this side here and go across, right? Because I forgot to number them, but you can do this. It's okay. People do this all the time. Now, I did leave a little wiggle room on these blocks, about 1/4 inch on either side, right? Like this side, just so that I could make sure I get things exactly right. I'm just going to put a little pinch in on both sides. And hopefully now I'm going to just put a pin in so I can see better as to where that line is, or where that little dot is, and line up those pins. That's actually the easiest way of doing this, is just line up. Take your fabric, fold it over, put a little pinch mark in there, mark it with a pin, just like that. Okay, now this goes like here, and you see those pieces don't look like they're going to match up because you've got overhang, but by the time you put your cement, they will. So you just want to line that up just like so. So everything is just right on the square. Okay. And oops, we're going to turn on the light. We're going to turn on the light for this. And what we want to do is just take a stitch. Just very gently, because you're kind of trying to work in just a few stitches at a time. Now, whatever you do, do not stretch either the outside or the inside of these blocks, because that would be bad. That would be so bad. Okay, I gotta get this under here. Now, some people only use one block or one thing, and that's good for them. You know, the more curves you master, the more you take, more skills you master, the more blocks you can do. And the more once you do, you know, like even partial seams, right? I know this isn't what we're teaching, but even if you just learn partial seams, or if you learn curves or something, you open up hundreds of different possibilities of what you're able to do. And you just take your time. This isn't a race. And you know, you take a few stitches, especially on this smallest curve. You just want to take a few stitches at a time. You don't want to go crazy on it. And when you stop to adjust, make sure your needle is in the down position. There we go. And there we go. And I don't think I have any puckers. Yay! That'll be nice. Nice change of pace. There. Now, it's going to fold in. That's the way the fabric wants to go. right? And that's nice. It makes it lie nice and flat. So you just take it and you know, you can press it, you can give it a little finger smushing, and you know, sometimes if you do have like a micro pleat, just a tiny little like oops, you can finger press it out. So that's what I like doing, finger pressing. Okay, then you take this again and you give this a little mark, a little divot. You go about 1/4 inch down. There we go. And you do the same here. You divot here, just finger press a little divot and finger press a little divot. There. And now you should be able to do the same thing, right? Again. And you just want there, right in where that divot is. So when these two match up, it'll be perfect. So then you want to do this again. There. Now some people they talk about the pie and the crust. They talk about concave and convex. I find this way, I'm not sure even what you would call it, but I find this way easiest. You know, find whatever works for you. They also have feet that do the work for you, going around a curve. You know, and those if you're interested in doing like you know, a bigger quilt, let's say we're doing all curves like a drunkard's path or something, you know, yeah, this is where you might want you know, to take this, there we go, that's where you might want to get one of those those foots. They have a sewing machine foot for curves, and you know, that might be worth the money then too, especially if you're going to do like a larger quilt where you're going to do a bunch of little drunkard's paths or whatever. Then yeah, you know, I'm a firm believer in getting the right tools for the job, but there's lots of tools out there, and sometimes I think we have too many tools. I have I have a friend, and the most complex thing that they have in their sewing room for tools is a needle and a scissors and thread conditioner, because that's all they do is they hand quilt. But hand quilting and hand piecing is not for everybody, I get that, but you know, it can be done that way. Again, it presses towards this outer point, lays nice and flat, and you give it a smush from the other side. Just make sure you haven't got any micro pleats. No micro pleats. Ooh, this is coming along beautifully. Okay. Now, because there's the paper on this, this is not gonna go as planned, right? But we can definitely sew this with pins. I don't like taking my paper out, especially, you know, when we're doing this kind of thing. But yeah, let's get just this, and we'll put let's see, we'll get this and this, the edges lined up. Ugh. Get everything lined up, and then it's easier to work with. And you do create a curve, you know, kind of a bowl shape. You figure, oh, this is never going to work. Yes, it will. Just have faith that you can do this. It's okay. It's okay. You can do this. It's fine. Now, where I'm marking the points first. The points always get marked first. So I want to make sure I have a good 1/4 inch there. And now I'm going to ease in the rest of this block. There we go. Oh. There we go. Sometimes you gotta convince it a little, and don't be too. You know, sometimes you have to like adjust you know, where this is going. And you want to pull that down just a hair, bit more, down just a bit more. But not the green. The green does not go down, it's only the orange. There we go. Yeah, sometimes it's easier to pin and move on. And you want to take just the smallest bites. You want to take just the smallest bites, just so that you can say, yes, it's there. I think. There we go. And one side is all pinned perfectly. There we go. Sometimes you have to let it just curve on you and be done. There we go. And that's perfect. See, it all fits. It really does. It all fits. Now I'm using the line on the back to where to place the top of my pin. You know, there. There we go. Just like that. And now we want to sew it. Now we can sew this from the bottom, I suppose. We could sew it from the bottom. And we remove the pins as we go. That's important. Don't run over your pins. Avoid running over your pins if at all possible. There we go. Just do little bits. Little bits at a time. You know, like I say, it's never a race. Sometimes when you're in a hurry, it's like, you know, it's when you're in a hurry, that's when things go wrong. And I would prefer that, you know, people not race when they're doing this kind of thing, because nothing good will come from it. There we go. There we go. There. Yeah, nothing good will come with it. What do they say? The more of a hurry you're in, the more higher the chances are that you're going to spending time with your seam ripper. So, yeah. It's that. And anybody who's done a lot of quilting or piecing or sewing, even like sewing blouses and stuff like that, right? I mean, the more of that you do, you know, if you're in a hurry, yeah, that's when the mistakes happen. I remember being at my cousin's house as a kid, and she was trying to get together a really lovely velvet pantsuit, right? Because pantsuits were all the rage that year, and she was working so hard, and it didn't matter what she did. She couldn't get her seams not to pucker. And what it was she didn't have a walking foot. So it's like, how do you do this? I remember her actually calling my mom and saying, okay, how do we do this? How do we get through this without like doing something? So Mom suggested that she, because it was feeding so awkwardly through her machine, that she use newspaper. Right, so here we are at 9 o'clock at night, going out to the store for a newspaper. So here we are, there we go, it just matched up perfectly. Okay, let's do this again. This time we're, you know, like I say, we're gonna just do this, pinching both sides. And I gotta pinch this too, right, because I don't have a center point. So right there, just like that. And get 2 points. So we're going to try and match them up the best we can. Now, because this is paper underneath it, it's not going to bend as easily. So we just have to be a little more patient. Okay, oops, let's get right in that divot. That would help. Okay, so that those two are going to match up. We hope. We hope. So anyways, yeah, she tried the newspaper trick, and it worked. I was kind of surprised too. I wasn't that old, and I hadn't really spent a lot of time with a sewing machine, but yeah, she got that pantsuit together lickety-split with that trick, and I was like, she had to even feed it manually though. She couldn't, the feed dogs weren't working for her, and everything was catching up on the velvet, so I don't know if that would work today on some of these modern machines, but or maybe some of these modern machines, they have a built-in walking foot. I wonder about them. If you guys have a modern machine with a built-in walking foot, please comment below to see whether or not you love it, because I mean, I wonder sometimes about how wonderful they are. There we go. Nice little ring. Okay, and they match, yay! They match, and we pull our pins, and we get around the rest of this. These patterns are so nice. They never look like they're going to fit together until they do. And then everybody's like so surprised. Oh my goodness, it fits. There we go. Okay, there we go. And we just get that little micro pleat out. There we go. I did get a micro pleat. Oh well. I'll show you. I'll try and show you what I'm talking about. Sometimes you have get micro pleats and people start to panic, and it's like, oh no, I've got a micro pleat, and they think they have to take the whole seam out. Okay, this, you press it that way, and that micro pleat just disappears, because I'm putting a lot of pressure with my thumbnail, and the fabric is a whole lot more forgiving than most people think it is. There we go. Now if I want this to lie really, really super flat, what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it a press, and I'm going to clip just the purple. Just the purple, because the purple is going to be pushed this way, and it's not going to lie flat. So I'm going to do that off camera, but that's the line. The purple needs to be pressed flat, and otherwise it will work beautifully. Now, okay, last one. Woohoo! Okay, get that divot marked. There we go. Need 2 pins. Mark the one divot. And get these two. Oops. Get the tails together. Match them up. There we go. Beautifully. There. Okay. Oops. Oops. What has happened here? There we go. Okay. Now, we start just like this. Yeah, I couldn't believe I found this really pretty pale orange, and I thought, ooh, that's got to come out to play in my fabric stash of all places. Now, the larger the curves, they're easier to sew. You know, you can move a little faster. Okay. And you don't have to adjust so often, so they do come together a little quicker. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, now we're very close to that center, so let's just line these two up, like pretending we know what we're doing. And this also helps you line up too. And sometimes, woohoo, magic happens, and you just end up with that perfect placement where you can go all the way to the halfway point, pretty much without stopping. Here. Now, I'll get rid of that in a sec. Yeah. There we go. Ooh, perfect. All right, now get this off, and this will go press the right way. This one will press the right way. Okay, so this one's going to just press like this in. The ones that are on the paper, you have to press them out because there's too much paper and it just will not press nice. And if it does, it doesn't lay flat. Okay, and I'm going to make sure I get everything nice and flat here. And I will clip this seam here. And we'll see how it looks once it's pressed. We'll see. But yeah, no little micro pleats or anything, because the larger the curve, the nicer it is to sew. It's just such a nice easy curve. Okay, let's get this iron. I'll square it up because it looks pretty good, and we'll get to our ta-da moment. Okay, this is our In a New York Minute, or Beauty Minute, Block 9. And I'm so glad I found this pale orange in here in my stash. I was like, ooh, we could play around with this and have some fun. But yeah, this one came together really quite quickly, and it just, you know, there was no problems at all. Sometimes I don't like to pin normally, but when it comes to this, sometimes it's easier just to pin and get it over with. And like I say, we always start with our smallest curve first, that we get the hard stuff over with, and then we work our way to the easy stuff. So I do hope you're doing these and you're mastering your curves and, you know, learning a bit more about foundation paper piecing. These were really fun to draw up for you. So you guys, I want you to stay well and take care until we see each other again, and I hope you have an absolutely fabulous week ahead. Okay, bye! My husband and I would like to thank you for all of your support and watching our videos and sharing and liking. It has just been, you've put us on such an amazing journey, and we are having so much fun. I hope everything is going so well in your life, and you know, your 1/4 inch is perfect. Everything is working out for you. And we're just so happy to be part of your lives, and you having, like I say, you're watching us. I was just so thrilled that you're doing that. So I want to say goodbye, and I want to thank you with all my heart. Okay? Take care. Bye.